Should we preview ourselves? What do we got coming on for this season? Going on.
More of the same bullshit.
That's why.
Yeah, same bullshit. Hopefully.
Um, yeah.
Oh man.
I'm
Open.
open.
I'm
I'm
open. I'm
open.
I'm
open.
open. I'm
Yeah.
I'm
open.
so open.
You guys are open.
I'm open.
Yeah,
I
All
guess.
right.
pretty much.
All right. You're open.
All right.
Welcome to the I'm
Pod.
Open podcast with Sam, Andrew, Ryan, and Joe. Uh, Today we have to preview the whole season, and we have to set and bet on our RINES lines for week one. Last year, I think Andrew won regular season RINES lines, correct? Andrew, did you have anything you wanted to say before we get started previewing and thinking about RINES lines a little bit?
Um, Not much, just other than like I pretty much smoked you guys last year in Ryan's lines by like a pretty wide margin. Like, was anyone else above 500 for
Hold
Ryan's
on.
lines?
Hold on. I got the
I think
standings.
Joe has the standings, yeah.
Maybe one other person, maybe Sam got above 500. I don't remember, but
I
I,
think
I
I won in the
remember.
playoffs.
Yeah, I didn't win the playoffs, but yeah, I don't want to give away my strategy again, but I
Fair
think I
enough.
probably already did, but I'm sure you guys forgot if I already
Oh,
said it.
oh,
So
Okay. Andrew was 66 and 59.
that's not that great.
Sam was 62 and 63.
Ah, that's right.
Ryan was 60 and 65, and I was 59 and 66.
Mhm.
So
Important note. If we didn't include week one, I would have won.
Yeah, you had a terrible start, I remember, and
Yeah.
then just
Yeah.
clawed your way back.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even
I think I
realize
went
that
like,
you're.
I think I started like 0 for 9.
Oh, so
Uh,
basically avoid having one horrendous week, and just if you're above 500, you'll probably win.
Yeah, that's the play.
Ryan's lines.
Ryan's
RINES lines.
lines.
Rides
All right.
lines.
And
Anyway.
I do have one thing to
Oh, yeah.
say.
Go ahead.
If you are watching and you want to sponsor our Ryan's lines, hit us up. Because we'd love to. We'll probably post it as like a separate clip. And the people love Ryan's lines. It's one of our most sought after segments on the show. So
Absolutely.
yeah, your ad can be here. Or actually later when we actually do Ryan's lines. But yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. But again, before we get into all that, we got to talk about the season as a whole. We have a little bit of preview slides going on, but really,
Oh, that's looking nice.
yeah.
Great stuff.
Look at those
We're just gonna
studs.
break it down division by division and try to cover all the. I know we talked about a lot of the storylines last week, but try to talk about how they'll impact this upcoming season. Yeah, let's get into it. I figured we start with the East, with the
Classic.
champions division, but also probably the one where the most crazy shit happened.
I'm loving the cow on the big moves.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
All right. This is a lot. There's a lot going on here. A lot of movement. What are some of the bigger ones here that stand out to you guys?
The box they go by is just confusing to me because this came out of left field for me and I just assumed he was kind of like Washington through and through. I wonder if he's just taking a year off, kind of like, Oscar said, I just need to take a break. It'd be really crazy if all of a sudden he's on Boston. Like everyone's just going to Boston. That would be fun to see.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't really hear anything uh about it at all. I didn't hear pretty much anybody on DC, whether it was not re-signing or moving to another team. Um, I think Joe Merrill went back to the shred to, I
Yeah.
guess he didn't either wanted to move back or didn't like the playing time he got in DC, but I didn't really hear that was going to be something that was happening. Boxley, Ort, I'm really, really going to miss, but also Cranston, Alexandre Fall, Troy Holland. Stephen Whartonby, Musa Dia, all not on the roster this year.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
A
It's
lot.
like a different team.
any of them maybe will come back. Who knows? But on the official
Mhm.
roster, none of them there.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I feel like that's a lot of like I guess the middle of their roster, like the middle chunk of their depth going away,
Yeah.
which is I guess concerning if they're trying to hang with New York because New York lost a couple like super big names, obviously, but they also made additions and kept a lot of their like depth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I will say, just in terms of some of these DC subtractions, I don't know. Like to me, DC is such a like system team. And it when we saw last year, if someone couldn't make it, they would just kind of plug someone else in, and it was just kind of like as long as Johnny and Rowan are kind of running it and Aroy, like, they can kind of mix and match pieces and make it work. And like, I don't think, and then I think the other thing with the Breeze and like a big criticism, and I'm not just making this up, like, I think other UFA players that we've talked to have kind of noticed this about their offense is that like they kind of have this club style, DC truck vibe to their offense that like, just other UFA teams don't really run their offense in the same way that they do, for better or for worse. But I don't know how much some of these losses will wind up affecting like their win loss total in the long run. I mean, could have an effect, and the depth obviously is huge, but like I just feel like watching the games, like they weren't really using Boxley, and I don't think they were getting the most out of him. And I think like whoever's next up there to fill in that role will probably just play in their system and hopefully won't like detract too much from their overall plan of what they're going to do. Is it the best plan for like a UFA team on like such a huge field to like run this kind of like dink and dunk possession oriented offense? Maybe it's not the best, but all that aside, like I don't know, maybe this won't have a crazy huge effect on their team. At least I'm hoping as like a DC fan. Um, but yeah, that is just kind of one thought I had. Like I'm just hoping that these like that their system kind of like prevails here.
I think, yeah, the weird upside to this is that if you don't use Boxley to his full potential, you're not losing a full potential Boxley from your offense.
Right.
So I definitely think I'm less worried about the offense than I am about the defense, because Fall and Dia were their
They're
top two
huge.
in D points played last year. And Fall just got everywhere. He's so fast. He's so fun to watch.
Mhm.
So that's definitely, I think Holland too played a bunch of D points. And then, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess Joe Merrill played some D, but he definitely was like somebody who we couldn't really find a place for. So hopefully he can go back to the shred and fit in there better. But yeah, I'm definitely a little bit worried about the defense for the Breeze. I mean, I'm definitely hoping that just because they're not on the roster right now doesn't mean that they won't be, or that they won't come back midway, or that they'll just they weren't sure if they were going to sign a contract, but they will before the
Mhm.
first home game or something. But yeah, that's definitely what I'm worried about most.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is kind of interesting, just the not like any formal announcement, or like it's not like they've signed with another team.
Yeah,
So it's like maybe they're not playing, maybe they will play. They just haven't the league just doesn't have their shit together, which is a huge
Yeah.
possibility.
You never
So
can tell.
yeah.
yeah. Honestly, a lot of these bye-byes are like pretty big name players. I have no idea if they're retiring, just playing club, or if they just aren't on the official roster yet, but will be playing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty funny.
Yeah. I think we're all kind of scarred from last year with Joel Clutton, where like he just wasn't on the roster, but then just decided to come back for the playoffs. And it's like, have players seen that model and is like, that sounds great. Like, I don't want to play the regular season games. I'll come back for the playoffs. Like, are we going to start seeing that more and more? I
We're
hope
probably
not
going to see
because,
Joel Clutton do that again this year.
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, Boston, I mean, we talked about it a lot in the last episode. Boston made a bunch of moves. Um, signing Babbitt, has to be the biggest move of the offseason for any team. That's pretty big. Makes them a little lit. New York loses them, but they get Haberfield. Also, Ben Katz retired? Question mark.
Yeah, not sure, but I could see it for
That
sure.
that would be huge. I mean, he was kind of like their focal point of the defense, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, he's
I
really
mean,
Yeah,
crucial.
obviously like they've still got JR, right?
for sure.
And
And
he's a great, I feel like the feeling for me for these Empire subtractions is not necessarily it's just like chinks in the armor, you know? There's still kind of the top dog, but like there's some chinks in the armor now
Mhm.
that weren't there in the past 2 years, two,
sure.
3 years. So um it's it remains to be seen like how that'll affect them, but probably not that much, but definitely a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
I think if Osgar doesn't play for the whole year, that's a big loss. But we also saw him not play a whole lot at the start of last season. And they played some really shitty weather games and they were still coming out winning. And
Yeah.
I feel like they're gonna be
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, definitely some opening for some other teams here.
Yeah.
Mhm. What's your guys' like vibe to close out the East, I guess, for like how do you think it's broadly gonna shake out? Like for me, I'm as it seems like we're agreeing, I think Empire's still a clear favorite to be first, and then I think personally I'd have those next three teams, Breeze, Glory, and Phoenix, uh sort of vying for that two spot, maybe more so Breeze and Glory. But I wouldn't be surprised to see like the Breeze have a down season and miss out on the playoffs or something. I don't know.
What's funny to me is like I still see Breeze as just clearly better than Glory and Phoenix. I mean,
Hmm.
barely anything has changed in their roster, and we've been talking about them as being the number 2 team in the entire league. But it's so fun to talk about this Glory team and this Glory additions and this and that. And it's like I think realistically they're gonna finish around kind of where they're at and not really vie for Breeze. But I would love to see them beat the Breeze this year or even the Empire. Like that would just make the league so much more fun if Boston was good.
Yeah.
I've got a few thoughts, so I think I should go last.
All I was gonna say is like I don't know, it's just like on paper, it's like you really want to kind of buy into Glory right now, but like the games have to go and be played. And it's kind of hard to really tell with Frisbee, just because there's so many just like it's like, oh, they lost all these players, but like I mean all of these teams have really good youth and really good, there's some good players that'll get a shot that maybe are just as good or maybe better than some of the players that are going out. So it's really hard to predict like how this stuff's gonna shake
Hmm.
out, you know.
Yeah. First, I'm disappointed that the Rush don't seem like they're going to be competing. Obviously, any of these people who haven't signed yet, we don't actually know they're not going to play, but to lose Bevan, Hill, Ty Barbieri, James Lewis, but I guess adding Addy Bay is nice. But last year they were competing up until like the last week. We really didn't know who that last playoff spot was going to go to. And so, yeah, I don't know, especially after Ottawa left and there was like this vacuum of Canadian talent. I'm a little disappointed that the Rush now aren't in the conversation, really, it feels like, for this third playoff spot.
Hmm.
Um, but also, I agree with you, Elu, that these games haven't happened yet, and it's really easy to be all in on the Glory, especially when, like, I don't think their defense got much better, and I don't think their defense was very good last year.
Hmm.
Um, and I think the Phoenix had a down year last year. It's kind of like fun to think the Glory are going to be this third team and write off the Phoenix because of how annoying they are, but they could be pretty good. Um,
Well,
Hypothetically, their roster like didn't change at all except for losing CJ Colicchio, and if they're healthy and bought in, and if James doesn't have to play handler and can actually like go deep more often, I think that they could be a pretty solid team. I definitely don't think that they're competing with the Breeze and Empire in the like first, like they could obviously win a game, but I don't think they're going to be competing for the first or second spot. But I do think the Glory Phoenix games are going to be super intense and
Yeah.
going to like be determining that final playoff spot.
Yeah. Well, the Phoenix are good though, don't you remember? Because they lost to the Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But like
yeah,
by not.
exactly.
Yeah. Uh, um. Yeah. I'm excited. I like how it makes it more interesting as not just people that make a show talking about frisbee, but also just fans of frisbee to see a lot of changes happening. It's like I'm glad that things are getting mixed up from last year. It'll be cool.
Yeah, definitely agreed. All right, moving on to the West Division, which produced the other championship contender last year in the Shred. Yeah, last year was exciting. The Aviators Spiders sort of duking it out for that third spot was like one of the better storylines. It produced like two of the most exciting games, I think, from last season. Um, and then obviously the Summit and the Shred are always fun to watch. Um, yeah, what are your burning takes on the West?
I'm just excited. Living out here in the West, getting to go to a bunch of games. The Aviator Spider storyline, like you said, was unbelievable. And then the Aviators coming in and beating the Summit, I think like just kind of made the West the most entertaining division, in my opinion, last year. A lot of these names, I don't know. I mean, Spicer going bye-bye is kind of a tough look for the Summit. They are adding, past Callahan nominee Chance Cochran to that D line, so we'll see how if that's like a 1-for-1 switch. Um, Really curious to see if Mac Hack just like doesn't play this year. He was one of the most exciting players to watch in the UFA last year. So that would just kind of be a bummer if he just decided not to play. Similarly, Paul Lally, like the Growlers, seeing Paul Lally and um, Travis Dunn light up the stat line, like kind of losing Paul Alley is a huge loss to the Growlers, which is kind of annoying because now it's like games. Really excited for this season. I think any of these top four, besides the Shred, I think they've cemented themselves. The next three, like, is just a toss up, and like those records kind of show like each is one game away from switching it up. So
I don't want
Yeah,
to I don't want to say
I'm
anything I would regret, but I kind of feel like the Spiders had like a flukily good season last year, and they might not be as good this year. Well, I mean, that's easy to say if Beckheck doesn't play, but I like they won a lot of super tight games, which is obviously a skill, but that's also like not going to go your way every time. So I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. I kind of think the Summit, the Aviators, and the Spiders could all regress just a little bit. And then if the Cascades, Growlers, and Nitro are all really shitty, it won't actually look like regression very much because they're gonna just play pretty similarly to each other and lose to the Shred and then beat the other teams, except for like a one-off game. Yeah, I feel like the Aviators got a little worse. They lost Ambrose, Aaron Weaver, maybe finally retired. What an amazing career. Uh, they lost Valley, Osborne, Calvin Brown. Nothing like wildly detrimental, I think, except for Ambrose. But still affects the depth. It sucks that Valley was injured for so much of last year and isn't on roster this year. I feel like that could have been a really big part of that team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. The Summit, they got a pretty similar roster to last year. I kind of hope everybody plays more. I think if everybody does, they could be a lock for this too, but you never really know.
Yeah, the Summit like looked like a little bit of a different team last year. Like I feel like they took a little bit of a step back, but I think there was also just a lot going on. There was stuff going on in some of the players' personal lives and people moving around, or there were some things that came up during the season that I think definitely, looking back in hindsight, affected them. I think it'll be interesting to see the you know will they kind of bounce back? I feel like I know Ryan, you were really nervous about their schedule. It does seem like the league kind of wants to throw them in some of the all these like prime time like big matchups and other divisions and a lot of traveling and some more tough matchups, which definitely does not help matters for them. But I see the Summit bouncing back a little bit. And then, I'm also a little worried about the Aviators, to be honest. But then you just think of like okay, yeah, they've had some subtractions. It's a little concerning. But the more I've thought about it, like just having Pavel on their team just changes everything. Like that's just such an important player to have on a team, and the amount that they improved over the course of the season with Pavel, I see them kind of maybe taking some of that momentum into this year. So I think the Aviators will definitely be good, definitely be vying for that third playoff spot. And yeah, and then I mean, who else in the division other than the Aviators are you really confident in like contending for that third spot? Because like, if the Spiders lose Hex, that's a huge blow. I mean, that's like if the
Yeah.
Aviators lost Pavel, basically. Like that's kind of what I would compare that to. It's such a huge blow to their offense. The Cascades are like they're kind of I don't know. I don't want to go in too hard on them, but like they kind of have this uncanny ability to have some of the best talent in the country in the world, and then just still put a crappy 4-8 team out there. Like they're like a black hole for like talent and success. Like their players are amazing, and then they just I don't know. They just don't really get it done. So I don't know. Super disappointing. Um, Maybe the Growlers bounce back, and then the Nitro. So basically, my point is like, yeah, maybe the Aviators take a step back. Maybe I'm a little worried, but like, I don't know. Looking at these rosters, like I feel pretty okay about the Aviators right now, like locking up that playoff spot. But
Yeah,
It's
it's also
also
noteworthy that the Aviators don't have any out of division games this year, so they're just uh they're gonna have a lot of opportunities to play these teams that we are
mhm.
thinking are below them, and then we'll see how they fare against the Summit this time around. But I don't know.
um,
I feel like that's what you want out of your schedule if you're LA.
I know I just said that I foresee like a Summit bounce back. Is there any like real reason to not have the Shred penciled in as a division winner here?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think last year was like a real statement year from them. Just proving that it wasn't a fluke, and I think they even got better from the previous year, and I don't see that slowing down
Yeah.
personally.
I
Yeah, the only roster changes are losing Joel Clutton, which they didn't have for the regular season, and then adding Joe Merrill.
hmm
Yeah, the
Yeah.
only thing I'll say is that both the Summit Shred games came down to the wire. Like there was one game specifically where
Yeah,
the Summit
good
were
point.
down one and they were on the goal line and they threw a turn with 0 seconds remaining. So that's a score, goes to OT, whatever. But the entire game for both games, the Shred just looked better. Like the Summit were just doing their Summit things where like they get a stall six. It sounds so weird saying six instead of nine, but stall six, throw off, and like score or something, and the Shred would just like walk down the field. So I
Mhm.
think they've just cemented themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be.
Important note also,
mhm.
Ian Sweeney, Leandro Marks, Rafi Hayes, all not on Nitro roster.
The
God,
only time I want to give to the Nitro is to say I don't think they're winning a game this year.
the Gorpus.
Well, don't count Seattle out to be incredibly disappointing. But yeah,
I think
yeah,
Nitro might be in their own tier.
Yeah, I think they might too. There's one other oh yeah, yeah. Just about the shred, like I think there's a lot to be said in this league about like chemistry and having a roster be consistent. Um, and that is something the shred does very well. They seem to really prioritize that. And you look at like some of these other teams, like I think the Cascades are a case study in like why consistency is important because like they are super talented, but like maybe they just have like a different squad here and there week to week. People shuffle around and different people on the road, and then it doesn't really like there's really something to be said about having that consistency. So that's just another reason why the shred look really nice coming into this year too.
Yeah. All right. I'll move away from the West now, unless anyone has any final pressing thoughts. I guess I will say if the Empire did take a step back, then the Shred have a chance to go undefeated because they face off in the regular season. So if the Shred win that, they could be our undefeated team this year, which would be
Ooh,
spicy.
Shred Breeze week 1 is going to be a huge tell for both of those teams, I think.
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. All right. Onward to the
A lot of
Central
changes here.
Division.
Coffin
Winchell won
go
it last year,
bye-bye?
obviously. Yeah,
Which
Coffin go
bye-bye?
bye-bye.
Oh, yeah.
Confirmed like he's not playing on a team?
I think it's confirmed, yeah.
Whoa. Do we know
I know
why or
it's
I have insider information to say that I think Abe is just kind of taking time off from Frisbee this year.
wow.
Respect.
Seems like a consistent theme with a lot of these kind of some of these top players. It's interesting.
Yeah.
yeah.
I would say, yeah, high level for the Central. Winchell probably still look similar. Like they lost Abe Coffin, but they had a pretty deep roster, as we talked
Mhm.
about toward the end of last year. It was like not really a star thing. It was like a very good team thing. Um, Alley Cats, I don't know if we saw a ton of movement except for
John Jones.
John Jones. Thank you. Yeah, John Jones getting added back.
Um,
And then the Union had a lot of changes.
big note is Keegan North not on roster for Alley Cats, along with some other players like Fella, Kaish, Carter
Yeah.
Ray. And they took a couple
Oh, they
players
took
from the
off Fella.
Mechanics too.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
miss his rec specs.
I know.
Damn.
End of an
But
era.
yeah, North definitely the biggest name there. And then yeah, Walsh and Cubit both not on roster for the Mechanics. What does this mean for this team?
Honestly, there could be a case to be made that like if the worst team ever loses a player, maybe they'll get better.
Maybe they'll get better.
What about they also lost Jake Kanev too? Like that's not a like that shouldn't go unnoticed either. Like
True,
these
yeah,
were
that's a good Cats pickup.
Mhm. I don't know, man.
Yeah, the Union definitely made the most changes here.
Joe White's big and
Joe
Lithio.
White, yeah, White is big. Lithio, that's going to be huge for I feel like their offense was so inconsistent, and both of these are just like pieces that can do whatever you need them to, whether it be air bounce, backhands, or you know, I guess other things maybe. But yeah, losing Jones, Brunner, Goff, Artemakis, Arters, Lance, not great. Possibly some of them not actually gonna not be on roster, but yeah, Lance I think is pretty surprising. Other than that, I don't know. I think Arters didn't play a ton. Goff was maybe we're gonna retire before.
Yeah.
Artemakis didn't play a ton, maybe. But I think they
Yeah.
got a little better.
Yeah. I would say Union. I agree. I think they got a little better, but they're definitely the biggest question mark.
Yeah.
I was wondering though, y'all's opinions on Pittsburgh and how real some of the flashes they showed last year were in your opinions? Because I don't know, they had some solid games that were actually interesting to watch. And then they had more games that were like more what we expected. Um, And I guess Union were a little bit meh last year, and that's why they were in that playoff race. But yeah, curious what you guys think.
I don't really have a lot of faith in Pittsburgh. I don't know. Max Shepard is such a ridiculous athlete, but I don't know if they have the same like depth and I like I don't want to like roast them too hard because obviously I could say something and then they come out and make the playoffs. Who fucking knows? But I watched them a good amount because I had Shepard on my fantasy team and I just saw like just a really inconsistent team. They didn't really, I didn't have a lot of faith in them to get it done in crunch time every time. Like there's only so much one player can do. And they had some pretty ugly games, especially down the stretch. So I don't feel great about them. I think there's more other teams in their division with more going their way, than Pittsburgh. But I mean, like a good Pittsburgh team that challenges that's fighting for the third playoff spot is great. Like
Mhm.
I would love to see that. That would be awesome. And Shepard's super fucking fun to watch. So um yeah, it's just kind of I don't know. Like just looking at Joe White and Lithio going to Union, that says a lot to me. Like Joe White impressed me a ton last year with what he was able to do. Like Carolina was a different team with him versus without. He's such an impact. Um, so I don't know. I think the Union losing Goff is obviously huge. I don't know. They did lose a lot of players, so I
Yeah,
don't really know.
Jace Brunner also was their leader in blocks and D line points played.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah,
kind of a. Oh, Lance was second in blocks also.
Hmm.
Third in D points played.
yeah. It's like I'm high on Joe White, but how high am I on Joe White versus like everything else with their roster? And it's just like, yeah, I don't know. Like roster just shifting around a ton year after year. Just doesn't really instill a ton of confidence. Like when the Aviators added Pavel, we were like, oh my God, like pencil it in. They're gonna be
Yeah,
great. But it's just like they didn't really figure it out until like towards the end. Like chemistry is
yeah.
really big. So like having a totally shuffled around squad, even if on paper it's really good, sometimes you got to work through the kinks. So that's a little concerning. Um, so I don't know, y'all. I don't know.
My take is the standings will look exactly the same
You think
as
so?
last year. I don't know about wins and losses, but the order is going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
I
ATS
think
though.
I think the Thunderbirds have enough talent to win some games, but not enough talent to consistently play good games against good teams.
Mm-hmm.
I like Mast. I like Carl Johnson also, but I don't love their defense. I don't love the concept of them going to away games without their full roster. Uh, I don't know. I think that they can certainly compete against, I think, any of these teams. I think the Wind Chill aren't unbeatable, and I think they're certainly the favorite here, and I think they will win the division, but I don't think that they're good enough to say, yeah, they're going to beat the Radicals in all, whatever, 3 games they play. They're going to beat the Thunderbirds every game they play.
Mm-hmm.
They might. They totally could, but like I just don't think the Thunderbirds or the Rascals are that bad and Wind Chill that good to be that confident.
Yeah. But we're all in on Mechanics 0 and 12.
Oh yeah. Somehow
I
they're gonna go 0 and
uh,
15.
What's the
last
streak at now? Anybody know?
I
Oh,
think it's in
we'd
the
have to do some
70s.
math. Yeah, it
I think
must
so
be.
too.
Um, I mean, last year I was like, yeah, I don't know. You get like this optimism at the start of every season. And I think I have no reason to give them any optimism, like they came close, like they came close a couple times last year, like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is close for them like losing by 5?
No, they
I think the
lost by
Mechanics lost by
they lost by
1 to
2.
the Alley Cats or something.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
They had
that's
a
that
close
Yeah.
one game. Oh yeah, I forgot
they had a
about that.
close game against the Alley Cats.
That was
Yeah.
must-watch TV. I think like the whole league was going into that.
It was
Yeah,
nuts.
definitely. All right. Well, good luck this year, Detroit. That's all for that. All right, final division, the South Division, the smallest division, and the most bisected division with two teams far below the other three.
I really thought you were saying bisexual division.
Maybe
It might be.
it might be.
I
We
mean,
should
have
put
you
out a
seen the
poll.
double wide's Twitter profile picture?
I do not. I don't know what
No,
it is.
We'll put it in right here.
boom. Is it bisexual?
It's
Is
just
that why you brought it up?
two guys making out.
Sweet.
Nice.
Well,
Well, there you go.
anyway, speaking of guys making out, I had nothing. I was hoping I would come up with something. What do you guys think about the South?
Well, I think it's
I don't.
obvious that there's three teams that are making the playoffs and there's two teams that are not. Which is like at this point now it's just you're fighting for the number one spot and home field advantage. Like
Mhm.
so really interesting to see what's going on with the Flyers. Like Matt Kujahanis just not playing. Eric Taylor just hanging up the cleats.
I don't know.
Um,
Is he hurt? Is
oh, I
He was
don't
he
hurt.
know.
He was hurt last year.
is he still rehabbing or is he gonna come back? I have no idea.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, Liam Searles Bose also AD.
I mean, it's
Um,
Carolina Frisbee, so I have no doubt that like their B team could still come in and beat the Legion and Havoc. So I think they'll be fine. Haberfield going to New York is kind of interesting for the hustle. Like he kind of came out of nowhere, but honestly, I see any of these. I like the three teams. I think are just so equal. Like that. That's what kind of like showed me last year. Is like the hustle kind of like took it, but like I wouldn't be surprised if the Flyers or the Soul finished number one this year. Like I think they're just it's the most equal division in the top three, besides the bottom two.
I think the Flyers have some real issues they should be concerned about. AD being hurt sucks. That really sucks for them. He played a lot of D line last year too, and like I don't know if he led the league in scoring 2 years ago, but he had 50 plus.
Mhm.
So I think that definitely doesn't feel great for them. Obviously losing Joe White, he didn't play every game, but when he did, he was great.
Yep.
And then yeah, I don't know. I hope they can get some of those UNC players, McKnight, Dameron, to play some, but they're not on roster. So I guess they don't really know how much to expect from them.
Yeah.
But
I think those guys are definitely going to be really locked in for the college season.
yeah,
At least as their
Yeah,
priority, and then
through
maybe they
May,
pick up
whatever.
maybe they pick up some of those guys like mid-season.
Yeah.
I just think that like you just gotta give if any Frisbee like region has earned the benefit of the doubt, it's Carolina.
Fair.
But like looking at a team that was 7-5 last year and then has lost some players, it's hard to like predict that they'll be higher than the third playoff spot. Just out of respect for what the other two teams have been able to show us, like last year. Soul making championship weekend. Hustle had a huge breakout year last year. Brett
Mhm.
Holzmeyer doing his thing. Hustle are going to be good again. Looks like they've got more or less the same core. The Flyers are looking at an uphill battle. I can't like if they went and won the division, I would not bat an eye. And like Sam's take was like them going undefeated. It's like you could see that happen, but just like I can't predict much more than like second or third in the division, or like much better than a 7-5 because they just like lost some players. So I don't know.
Mhm.
Especially after one of their bigger issues last year was commitment and how many players would play in every single one of their games. And yeah, losing all these players hurts, but I think the thing that will fix them is actually having a consistent core. And I just have no idea if that's going to happen or not. If it will, then yeah, they're going to probably be better. But if not, I could definitely see this being a lower year for them.
Yeah. Any
But I am excited. I'm excited about the Soul. I'm excited about the Hustle too. They have a pretty similar team to last year. They were really, really close to going really far. And their Empire game was like a 4-point game or something.
yeah.
The Hustle, they're exciting, but I think the Soul got to see what they're capable of. And yeah, I
And
don't know. I
stayed
guess
pretty
it sucks. They have
constant.
to play so many games against the Legion and Havoc where there's like no intensity. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
But I
Are,
think I think they're gonna be second in I think it'll look a lot like this, honestly.
Yeah.
yeah. Do we have either any of these teams like playing more out of division games than they did last year?
I don't know offhand. I could try to look it up real quick.
Kinda.
I kind of like the Soul if I were to pick a favorite in this division, just because they lost a bunch of close games last year and then they ended the season really strong. They might go in with a lot of momentum.
Mm.
They've got a lot of good players.
Yeah, they really do.
I'm really excited to see Swytech play this year.
Let's see. Soul has a Union game,
Hustle start
and that's
Flyers
it.
Empire, Flyers, Alley Cats, Summit, Soul.
Yeah, Soul just has a Union game, and the rest is South. So
They just give
Damn.
the Soul just they're like, you'll play Legion Havoc like 10 times and then make the playoffs.
yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah,
And they always play the Union too.
the Hustle play Carolina 4 times. And then the Soul twice, and then Empire, Alley Cats, and the Summit.
They play the Empire and the Summit.
Yeah,
Well, I'm excited
yeah,
for that Summit game. That'll be good.
they only have 3 games against the Havoc and the Legion.
yeah.
Damn.
The Soul have 7,
Wow.
so pretty similar to
This
last year.
this league kind of does you dirty if you're really good because then you have to have a harder schedule and travel more.
Yeah,
Um, but then you're good, so you like win a lot, but also it's harder.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I think the Soul are like right in the pocket. Like they're like right where you want to be.
Yeah,
Carolina also only plays 3 games against those shitty teams. They start the year with Hustle, Soul, Dallas, Soul, and then they end the year with Hustle, Breeze, Thunderbirds, Phoenix, Legion, Hustle again. Maybe
all
the
right.
Soul are the favorites to win the division.
Damn.
Yeah, I think they would be for me. I have an important final South question, I think, unless there's more to talk about after. But Dallas, Houston play 5 times. So who you got?
Oh, do you think that was intentional? They're like, y'all can't just like trade these off. Like
Yeah,
we need a
there can only be one.
definitive. Yeah.
Give me Dallas.
Didn't they lose like their best player?
Yeah.
Give me
Kevin
Give
Dallas.
me
Richardson.
give me Houston. I don't know why, but I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly no idea. I'll go Dallas because they've been around longer.
I'm gonna go. I don't know. Give me the Havoc. They haven't been around long enough to cement a losing mindset.
There
Yeah,
you
does being around longer but like sucking total ass like
go.
actually help?
I
Like the
don't know.
mechanics have been around for a while. Like
That's a good point.
It's so funny to me that Dallas was in the championship in back-to-back years, and then they changed their name, and then they've just sucked since.
the rebrand has done the
It's been
opposite of
rough.
wonders for them.
Mm-hmm.
Just change it back, guys.
Yeah.
Like, what are
Yeah.
we doing? Just change something. Like,
All right. Is that it for previews? Any more previews to preview?
Nah.
Should we preview ourselves? What do we got coming on for this season? Going on.
More of the same bullshit.
That's why.
yeah, same bullshit. Hopefully.
Yeah, looks like we got 9 games this coming weekend to kick off the season.
Oof.
Ryan's brain is a churning. I think it might be time for Ryan's lines.
Lines, lines.
Ryan's
Brought
lines.
to you by TBD. Um,
Roy's lines.
we've got the Ryan's, and Ryan's has the lines.
You know, I'll just start by saying I've been using TBD now for TBD, and it works wonders. I highly recommend you go out and get TBD.
Mhm.
So thank
Wow,
you
I'm
for
convinced.
sponsoring this segment. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, I've got the schedule up. Joe, are you taking
I'm
notes as
ready.
always? All
I'm
right.
ready.
Oh my God. Here it is.
Let's get it going. Friday, we kick it off with Royal at Glory. What
What
are we
the
thinking?
fuck?
Ooh.
You know, I don't have any past games to easily look up to use as a database, so this is gonna be
This
great.
could be rough.
We're gonna go Boston Glory minus 4.5.
Mm,
I will take Boston.
I'm gonna take Boston too.
I am gonna go Boston.
Maybe the line was wrong. Shit. I'm also gonna take Boston.
All right.
All
We're
right,
off to a
sounds
terrible
good.
start, in my opinion. Oh, we got a great game here,
Oh,
folks.
baby.
The first
SaberCat
edition,
Stadium.
I'm
Dallas,
gonna give
Houston.
I'm gonna give Houston the edge here, and I mean, I don't really want to give him 2 points. All right,
Mm,
it's you know what? It's a straight pick 'em. Houston minus a half or whatever. Like the odds of the juice is a little bit, but you're basically just
yeah,
picking here.
fair
Uh,
enough.
and I'm gonna go Dallas. I think they're gonna come into Houston and upset the home team.
What an
Yeah,
upset.
I did just pick Dallas to win the season series, so I guess it makes sense. I'll roll with Dallas too.
I'm gonna go Houston for this exact same reason, but the opposite pick.
I'm going to just copy Alu all season.
You fucker.
Smart.
All
All
right.
right. Saturday Central Division opens up with wind chill at the Thunderbirds.
This is an easy one. I'm
Ooh.
gonna go Minnesota minus 3.5.
Ooh.
Hmm. Interesting. I think I'm gonna go with wind chill. Though I would be excited to see the Thunderbirds come out and make that a game.
I'm gonna go win chill also. I think they're hyped after making championship weekend and they're gonna come into this with a lot of energy.
Um, I'm going Pittsburgh. I don't necessarily think they'll win, but they had some magic last year on their home opener, I believe. They had a walk-off win. So I think they'll have a little opening day juice. Although I'm sure I'm gonna check the rosters and I'm gonna regret my choice because like all the players that are good are like not gonna be playing for some reason. So yeah.
That's the way it goes.
I'm gonna go Minnesota here, which scares me because now Andrew's all alone, which means he's gonna win. But yeah, Minnesota coming off, you know, pretty good game in the playoffs. Like I think they've got that juice rolling. So
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, up next, Empire home opener going for their record breaking 31st win in a row.
So the Royal are
is there a number big like well I'm really curious to see what number you guys have in your head here. And I'll just start it off. I'm gonna go minus 10.5.
oh yeah, I was gonna say like 9.5, but I think 10.5
Oh,
is a better line.
yeah, I'll go Empire because the number in my head was 12 and a half.
I think you have to go Empire, like even with 10. Like you kind of have. Oh, well, sometimes these Ryan's lines get really big, and then the garbage time happens, and then uh, I'll still go Empire.
Um, First game without Oscar, without Babbitt. I think I gotta take New York.
Give me Montreal.
Oh
Alrighty,
man.
I could see that
Ah,
working
shit.
out.
Growlers Cascades in Seattle.
Interesting.
I'm I'm actually gonna go Cascades -1.5 here.
Mm, I'm gonna go with the home team, Seattle there. That's a good line though.
That's a great line. The last thing I want to do right now is put my faith in Seattle, so I'm going San Diego. I think they're a better team.
The only thing I know about Seattle is they're a little bit better at home. So I'll go Cascades.
Man, I'm also gonna go Cascades, and again, Andrew is for sure locking this one
That's
up.
not good for me. I don't think that's good for me.
Oh
I
man,
don't
we
know,
have an
man.
exciting game one here. Who gets the edge? All right. Just off the top of your head, is Keenan Lawrence back? He's back with the Spiders.
The roster didn't say any difference.
Gotcha.
I think they only
What's
lost Hecht and shit, I forget who the other person was.
I'm gonna go. All right, we have an option here. We're gonna go Aviators -1, which means anyone
Oh,
here has has the choice to pick that, like, whatever. I forgot what it's called, but like you can pick
Bush.
Aviators to win by exactly
Goalposts.
one, or yeah, pick the push, or pick the goalposts, and then either you don't talk or we don't talk for the whole Ryan's lines.
all right.
Yeah,
It's a big
nice.
play early in the year.
Aviators -1.
Oof.
I'm gonna take the Aviators side of that line. I'm too scared to get a silent week this early.
I'm gonna go Yaters as well.
I think I'm gonna go Spiders.
-1. That means you got to win by 2. Give me the Yaters. I think Heck's not playing at least week 1. Give me the Yaters.
All right, sounds good.
No pushes.
No bushes. We're all scared. All right, time for the Big South matchup. Hustle Flyers.
In Carolina too. Does anyone remember?
Ooh.
Did Hustle beat the Breeze in week 1 last year? They did, I think.
I think week
Uh,
one, Breeze
Carol
beat
was Carol. Yeah,
Flyers
Breeze beat Carolina.
Breeze beat
at
Carolina.
Carolina week one.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, and then like week 4 or 5, Carolina beat Breeze in DC.
Yes.
Mhm.
Cool.
That's right.
I'm just trying to see, like, week 1, does Carolina come out hot?
Mhm.
I still got to give the edge to the Hustle though, but it is in Carolina. Hustle lost Liam. Carolina lost E. We're gonna go Hustle -1.5.
It's a good line.
Hmm. I'm gonna not go first this time. I don't know. I need to think.
I'm gonna go Hustle. I think Carolina's had a lot of shifting around on the roster. Like, it's just like a slightly different version of Carolina this year versus like Hustle seemed like they, you know, had less change, and I think they'll come out hot.
You know what? I set this line. Give me Carolina. I have a new strategy, and it's going against Alu because I just think he has to regress to the mean.
Eh,
Yeah, what's our mean? Like
I think it was.
10
I
and
think we were like
15 ish.
50% on the dot last year. I'm gonna
Oh, sweet.
go Hustle. I'm gonna go
I'm
Hustle.
gonna I'm gonna go Flyers also, even though I think the Hustle are gonna win by 1.
I kind of thought that too, but
well, if the Hustle win by one, don't the Flyers cover?
yeah, he picked the
Yeah, that's why
Flyers.
I
That's why I
picked the
picked the
Flyers.
Flyers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, but
All right.
I'm very close on it. Yeah.
It's
Here
close.
we
It's
have,
a good line.
I think it's the game of the week, but also just, our everyone's game of the week because this could be game of the year depending on just what happens. Like, this could be a 1-point game, this could be a blowout. Don't know. It's in Salt Lake. DC has to travel, but it is that 7 o'clock on Saturday? So it's a Saturday night game.
Yep.
So man, you lose 2 hours of time zone difference. So it's basically like the Breeze are playing a 9 o'clock game. I think that has to factor into it.
They'll be tie.
Yeah, they'll
It
be
could be tie
sleepy.
tie.
They'll be
Mhm.
little sleepy boys.
They could be tie. They could be in that air. I'm gonna give the Shred the edge here, actually, and I'm gonna say Shred -1.
Oh,
Oh, another chance. Um, I'm gonna go with the Shred, but I do want to note that I'm very excited that this game is happening because we talked about it last year.
I think I think the Breeze are gonna be really good this year. But with that said, I haven't seen them play the level that Salt Lake did last year. And I think I just, even if DC is better than Salt Lake this year, they haven't shown me that they are, like, ever. So I think I have to go Salt Lake, but I could totally see DC winning this game.
I think that the Breeze's like style of play, the changes in the roster, first game of the season, having to travel, playing a game at altitude, which I don't think I've seen them do. Um, Going into the Shreds house. Um, I mean, there's just so many factors stacked up against them that I mean, I'm gonna go with the Shred here. I could see the Shred just like winning by like 4, at least. Um, I don't know. It's just like you have to be able to play like altitude ball, you know? Um, I don't know if they're gonna go and do that. So I don't know.
All right, I'm taking DC here, and I cannot wait to rub it in Joe's face when DC beats the Shred next week.
It is kind of sad the two
You can
DC
rub it in
heads
my
aren't gonna go.
face all you want. I'm going to be so fucking happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. It's a good happiness hedge here.
Yeah.
It is. Joe, I'm very familiar with betting against my own team, so yes, great, good
I
pick.
know. Yeah, I mean, like, the Breeze play close games against the Empire, and the Empire are better than the Shred, so it's not like there's no way the Breeze can't go in there and win this game. I think they totally could.
Yeah, and I think the whole coming into altitude thing is like I've seen two teams do it, and I've seen two different outcomes. I've seen Minnesota come to Colorado and get stomped on, and I've seen the Empire play back-to-back games against Colorado and Salt Lake and just show them who's the boss. So
And Empire's Empire, though.
Empire is Empire, but I think what that showed me is like good teams just fucking play anywhere. Like it's just what it is. And bad teams, like or not bad teams, but like less not the best teams, like it affects them more. So I think Breeze can overcome, the altitude and whatever that
Mhm.
bullshit.
I just feel like anecdotally, like when we went to Denver and we were throwing around and dicking around, I just like the disc was not doing what I thought it would do. Like it really makes a big difference. And I don't think DC's Hucks like always look all that great, you know?
Yeah, their hooks were kind of
So
ugly last year.
yeah, they had some ugly Hucks. So I don't know. Like I think you have to go and like Matt like the Empire were capable of like playing, big sling and ball. Like you kind of have
Longest
to.
throw of the year last year was Salt Lake.
Yeah, it was like 90 yards or something, right?
I think it was more than that. Yeah.
It
Yeah, it
was
was like
end
90.
zone, yeah.
Yeah. So like I don't know. You got to be able to go and like um
To be
slang it.
fair, Sean Cannell has the most beautiful backhand I've ever seen. Like the altitude helps, but like that man, like if
Yeah.
you just watch it, it's different. It's
Yeah.
so cool. He
Yeah.
unleashes it and he looks like he's oh man, it's yeah. So I think he could like have the longest throw like in New York too. But
Yeah, fair enough.
Speaking of game of the week,
Yeah, Sunday night prime time. Growlers on the back-to-back facing off at Gorpus. Who do you
Higgins
got?
Bowl.
I mean there's just no shot I'm watching this game. Like I probably will because I don't have a life and it's the only game on Sunday. But I hope we're recording during this game and we just ignore it. But I'm gonna go freaking Growlers minus 2.5. I don't want to give any respect to Portland. And that, like, I think the Growlers are a bad team, and I think the Portland's like that much worse.
Give me the Growlers.
Give me the Growlers also. Don't ever catch me betting on the Nitro.
That line is interesting because we really do notice, like, you're not getting a team's best the second like the Sunday of a road trip weekend. Like, that's probably the worst the team's gonna perform. So this line's interesting, but man, like, no Marks, no Rafi Hayes. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing, Gorpus? Like, I'm gonna go Growlers.
Well,
Are you
that's
going
it.
Gorpus,
Oh,
Ryan?
I didn't. Oh shit! I didn't go. I don't want to bet on this game.
You could abstain.
I'm going. I'm gonna go
Goalpost.
Growlers too. I can't bet on Gorpus.
Yeah.
And if I'm wrong, I won't even care.
I love how we're like not even giving them the respect of even saying like their team name. Like, at least with Mechanics, we like close,
Yeah,
They're just Gorpus this year.
they're just Gorpus because they have talent in that area. Like,
Win 2 games and
Rhino,
you can stop being Gorpus.
Rhino is a good club
Yep.
team, but nobody wants to play for them because they're just Gorpus.
Gorpus owns them. Gorp Corp has taken over.
All right, that concludes all of Ryan's lines for week 1.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm really nervous for this because I feel like we went against like me versus you three for like a lot of them. So you guys
Yeah, no,
either fucked
I don't feel
yourselves
good.
or fucked me. Someone got fucked this week.
I feel great. I feel
I think
great.
Dan Yacht's gonna win this week.
I put him in the standings already.
All right,
We're
yeah.
all tied at 0-0.
I've still got my dog shit bags right here.
I do too.
Thanks,
Our
Dan. Shout out
trophies.
Dan Yacht. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Let us know in the comments what your picks are. Dan Yacht, I'm sure you'll let us know by some means. Oh my God, what are you doing?
This is why we have to click "Not Made for Kids" on YouTube when we post.
Oh Lord. All right.
I'm
Anything
open.
else?
I'm open.
I'm open.
Open.
We're
I'm
so
open.
back.
Open.
Ryan's lines.
We are so back.
This actually looks like a scar.
You should sell Ryan's dog.